knew what was going to happen. None of us know.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse for
Emily,
this.
please, just try to understand.
Understand the palm of my hand.
If you're on the fence about the remake of the modern horror classic Until Dawn, hopefully this will help you decide whether you want to play or pass. And stick around to the end for my final thoughts on this one. Until Dawn was originally going to be a PS3 game, but it got delayed and swapped engines to what is now the Decima engine from Guerrilla Games. This engine powers some of the best looking games out there, like Death Stranding, Killzone Shadowfall, and Horizon Forbidden West. For some reason, this remake uses Unreal Engine 5, which might have been a big mistake. Let's take a look at this game's visuals compared to the original and how it holds up. At first glance, the differences in lighting and textures are obvious. The remake moves away from the original style by using Unreal Engine 5's Lumen system, which does make the lighting more natural. Now, it does look good, but this change removes the handcrafted lighting and art style that gave the original its cold atmosphere. This also comes with a weird side effect. We all know that the facial animations in these games are always funky looking. But in this one, the old motion cap for all of the character movements look bad because of the new textures and much more realistic look. The hand animations have not been changed, and it's noticeable. They almost look like CJ's hands in GTA San Andreas. These things were much harder to notice with the darker atmosphere of the original. It's a strange choice to go for a remake of a game in a new engine and keep all the legacy motion capture while introducing some new issues with it being an Unreal Engine 5 game. Another concern that I had before it was released is that this was going to be built more with the PS5 Pro in mind, and that could signal potential performance issues in future games. Let's hope that that is not the case. Now, it does have chromatic aberration. I think you should fire anybody that thinks that that is a good thing to add to games. Film grain and motion blur, but they can all be turned off. It also has two different aspect ratios, letterbox and normal widescreen, or 16:9. It's not just about the visuals though. There are supposed to be gameplay enhancements, so let's take a look. All of these types of games are very similar. You make choices and complete QTEs to progress, and that's about it. Even though it's a simple game, they are entertaining because of the choices and consequences of failing. The collectibles are back, like the totems and clues scattered throughout the levels. But the biggest difference is the new camera system, which is now controlled by you, letting you see more details in certain sections. However, due to the frame rate issues, the camera isn't smooth to control. In the asylum section with Mike, it stutters almost every time you turn, and it's a persistent problem throughout the entire game. And there is no performance mode either. It is always stuck at a bad 30 frames per second. This is a big miss considering the original runs at 60 FPS on the PS5. The new player-controlled camera could have been a great addition, allowing more immersion, but with the frequent stuttering, especially during tense moments, it quickly becomes frustrating and detracts from the experience. One new feature that is pretty fun is the ability to auto-fail or randomize every QTE, which can result in complete chaos. I wish they would have done more with this remake in terms of gameplay. There just isn't enough of a difference or improvement in this department. Now when it comes to the sound and story, thankfully they didn't really change anything here. It still has the same performances and story that made it a classic. You do get the audio improvements from the PlayStation 5 audio system, which is nice if you're wearing headphones. If you've played the game before, it's more like an extended cut of a movie. It adds some extra scenes and changes, but not enough to be a completely different experience. While the Until Dawn remake does improve on some things, like textures and hair, the decision to keep the outdated animations really hurts its new appearance. It feels more like a missed opportunity than a true remaster. Instead of enhancing the experience, it mostly highlights the game's age in key areas. I can't help but think they should have taken this chance and remade it with some fresh new ideas. Perhaps turning it into a more complex survival horror experience, adding puzzles and some deeper story elements. This would at least been a good reason to go back and revisit the game. But since the original still looks great, runs better, and remains largely unchanged, this remake is a pass for me. But what about you? Are you going to play or pass? Let me know your thoughts on the Until Dawn remake in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and would you kindly leave a like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later.